think of a bird's nest, you probably picture a typical structure made of twigs and leaves, right? Well, it turns out some birds' nests are a bit more complicated than that. In the same way that we humans have different preferences when it comes to finding a home, different species of bird build their nests in different ways. Here is a list of incredible ways birds build their houses. Bowers are not nests. After the male dances, sings, and grovels along the ground, seemingly begging a female to accept him, after mating, the female builds a cup-shaped nest in a higher, more secluded location in a bush or tree hollow. She builds the nest alone, and being solely responsible for laying eggs, incubating, and feeding the young. Laying a clutch of 1 to 3 eggs, depending on the species, she incubates them for 12 to 15 days. The eggs are strikingly marked by scribbly lines of brown, gray, purple, and black, as if an artist had dribbled ink on them. These patterns probably help to camouflage the eggs. Many species of ovenbirds build a characteristic dome-shaped nest of clay which resembles an old-style, wood-fired baker's oven, and is the basis of the common name of this group of birds. Depending on the species, the nest can be located on the horizontal branch of a tree, on a post, or on the ground. The nest is constructed of mud with plant fibers mixed in for greater strength. These materials are carried in the bill. The dome is about 12 inches in diameter, can weigh about 9 pounds, and is kiln-like in shape, with a deep, narrow entrance. There is an inner walled-off nesting chamber lined with grasses. Although old nests physically last for several years, ovenbirds construct a new structure for each brood. Some species of ovenbirds nest in an underground burrow or in a tree cavity. The rufous-fronted thornbird builds bulky communal nests out of thorny twigs and trees, with each pair having separate entrance and nesting cavity. Try to weave a basket out of grass or palm fronds? It's a bit difficult, right? Takes a while to get the hang of it. Well, what if you tried to weave a basket using just your mouth and starting out with one piece of grass? It'd be pretty tough, right? But that's nothing for the weaver bird. You might see a weaver ant nest, but have you ever seen a weaver bird nest? Weavers are small birds related to finches. They are an incredible 57 species of weavers, and all have their own style and strategies for building elaborate nests. But no matter the various styles or materials used, all are mind-blowing. Typically, it's the male birds that build these amazing nests as a way to woo females. The better the builder, the more likely he is to find a mate. Many species start out with just a single strand of plant fiber and begin the seemingly miraculous project from there. This is one of the structures built by animals that you might see caught on tape on the Animal World channel. Many species weave very fine nests using thin strands of leaf fiber, though some, like the buffalo weavers, form massive untidy stick nests in their colonies, which may have spherical woven nests within. The sparrow weavers of Africa build apartment house nests, in which 100 to 300 pairs have separate flask-shaped chambers entered by tubes at the bottom. Species weave unbelievable nests that have narrow entrances facing downward. Hamerkops are esteemed for their most amazing nests, which may contain material including sticks 1.5 meters in length and assortments of human debris such as bicycle tube tires. The nests are usually built in the main fork of a large tree near water, which is where the hamerkops earn a keep, specializing in feeding on frogs and tadpoles. The giant-sized mansion is constructed as a territorial marker to indicate to intruders that the region is occupied. Since it is constructed in a team effort by males and females, it may also serve to reinforce their pair bond. The animal home begins as a V-shaped cup in the fork of the tree, and the sides are gradually built up basket-like around the internal cavity. The roof is a real masterpiece and is constructed with one bird inside and one bird outside the nest. Sticks, reeds, and grass are added vertically and horizontally until the network is solid and 1 meter thick. So expert is the roof construction that it can support the weight of a fully grown man, let alone the usurpers such as Vera-nosed eagle owls, and often occupy the roofs of the hamerkop's nest, using them as their own nests. This most amazing animal home is made of a slender, often descending branch, usually of deciduous trees like oak, hornbeam, birch, poplar, or hackberry, sometimes pine. Nests are usually 10 to 40 feet above the ground. Nests have also been found on loops of chains, wires, and extension cords. The nest is the size of a large thimble, built directly on top of the branch rather than in the fork. It's made of thistle or dandelion down held together with strands of spider silk and sometimes pine resin. The female stamps on the base of the nest to stiffen it, but the walls remain pliable. She shapes the rim of the nest by pressing and smoothing it between her neck and chest. The exterior of the nest is decorated, probably camouflaged with bits of lichen and moss. The nest takes 6 to 10 days to finish and measures about 2 inches across and 1 inch deep. These animals are found in every U.S. state except Hawaii and much of Canada and northern Mexico. These adaptable birds have been studied closely for centuries, and their nests are of particular interest given their colossal size and weight. These animal-built houses are constructed with care and attention over the course of 1 to 3 months. Nest building is very much a cooperative process, though the female often takes the lead in building the nest while the male supplies materials. The standout feature of a bald eagle nest is size. The average nest measures around 1.2 to 1.5 meters in diameter and 60 to 100 centimeters deep. Bald eagles add around 1 to 3 feet of new material to the nest every year. The largest bald eagle nest found in St. Petersburg, Florida, 2.89 meters in diameter, 6 meters deep, and weighed almost 3 tons. Despite their majesty, bald eagles are pretty lazy and spend a lot of time in their nests. As the name suggests, the swiftlet builds a nest that is not only edible for humans, but is considered a rare delicacy. The nest, which is built out of the bird's saliva, solidifies into a 6 centimeter long, 1.5 centimeter deep dish-like structure that eventually holds 2 eggs. Each pair of swiftlets spit about 10 grams of saliva to build the nest. The salivary glands enlarge during the nest building process. When exposed to sunlight, the white nest blends a golden hue. Because of this, the nest is often referred to as white gold. It is also priced like it, at a whopping $4,000 per kilogram. The nest was discovered to be an aphrodisiac and a delicacy in Chinese cuisines. Soups made from the nest is considered to be especially tasty. This very unique feature of the bird has led to its downfall too. Leaving aside all natural predators, the biggest predator for the edible nest swiftlet turned out to be humans, who went on an unbridled harvesting spree. Sometimes not considering the size and age of the chicks, the nests are harvested for profit. In the 90s, illegal nest harvesting resulted in almost 80% of their population being wiped out. The swiftlet was eventually added to our endangered species list. There are amazing animals who build amazing animal homes and got caught on camera for their splendid work. The European bee-eater builds a nest by burrowing into hillsides and slopes. These birds are approximately 1 foot long and about 4 inches high. The European bee-eater's call is a high-pitched and fast-paced trill that has a very sweet sound. The call may also include some scratchier notes. Their migration takes them as far as the tropics of Africa. The European bee-eater call may sound like a cacophony of preeps as they forage. They tend to be more vocal in colonies. Like all birds, they call to locate and communicate with each other. During courtship, the call takes on a more melodic tune. Aside from adding the touch of color to our lives, these beautiful near-passerine birds play an important role as ecosystem engineers, especially in arid regions. During their nest burrowing activities, they can remove up to 12 kilograms of soil. This bioturbination has a major effect on the ecosystem as it alters the environment for other species. Nutrients from the removed soil are made available for other organisms. Abandoned burrows are often used by other species for nesting, roosting, and shelter. High up in the Andes of Chile and Bolivia, at altitudes of 12,000 to 14,000 feet, lives a bird known as the horned coot nest. In the absence of vegetable matter for nest building, this coot does something quite remarkable. It builds a pile of stones nearly to the surface of the water, and on top of this it makes a nest of a few water plants that it can find in these salty lakes. This is an amazing feat because of the size of the pile. It is in the form of a cone, about 12 feet in diameter at the base and rising to a height of 3 feet. Moreover, all of these hundreds of stones must be collected from the land, or from very shallow water at the margin of the lake, carried to the nest site and dropped into the water. The stones are carried in the bill, the bird swimming from the lake edge to the site it has chosen for the nest. The most astonishing thing is that some of the stones weigh as much as a pound, the size of a man's fist. The largest falcon in the world, the ghostly gyrfalcon, is a fierce predator in the high Arctic, where it chases down ptarmigans in flight or plummets from the sky at breathtaking speeds to strike prey on the ground. Nesting on remote cliffs in the far reaches of Canada and Alaska, gyrfalcons in North America are safe from most human disturbances, but face challenges from a warming climate. The nest site is usually on a cliff ledge, sometimes in the hollow or broken off tree snag, or in an old stick nest of another large bird in the tree. In some areas, many nest on the ground of hilltops. Also uses ledges of buildings, bridges, other structures. The only natural predator of gyrfalcons are golden eagles, and even they rarely engage with these formidable falcons. Gyrfalcons have been recorded as aggressively harassing animals that come near their nests, although common ravens are the only predators known to successfully pick off gyrfalcon eggs and hatchlings. Even brown bears have been reportedly dive-bombed. Humans, whether accidentally or intentionally, are the leading cause of death for gyrfalcons. Once the birds have paired up, they exclude other grebes from the area, which becomes their breeding territory, defending against intruders. The little grebe nests on a floating platform anchored to the submerged vegetation. Both adults feed and rear the chicks. Outside breeding season, it moves to spend the winter in a more open or coastal waters. It is migratory in the parts of the range where the water freezes. This species is resident, dispersive, and migratory according to winter conditions on the breeding grounds. The no-mate race has been recorded in Norway, Azores, Madeira, and Canary Islands. The nest is placed at the water's edge because the grebe cannot walk easily with its legs set very far back. It is a floating structure made of decaying plant material. It is anchored to the aquatic plants or sometimes anchored to branches of waterside bushes. The common tailorbird is a small bird with an upright tail, green upper body, and rust-red crown. For the next few months, observing the tailorbird became my new hobby. The tailorbird usually prefers trees with bigger leaves for nesting. The nest is a deep cup lined with soft materials and placed in thick foliage, and the leaves holding the nest make it difficult to spot. The piercings that are made to the leaves while stitching is quite minor, which is why the leaves don't brown. Overall, it makes for a perfect defense mechanism for the security of the nest. As the tailorbird finishes making the nest, many others started flocking around the tree in a bid to attract her attention for mating. Normally, males and females do not have any kind of sexual dimorphism, but during breeding season, males sport extended central tail feathers and more vibrant green. Doubling up as a mating platform, the jacana's nest is a fragile floating pile of vegetation. The bird makes several and chooses one for laying eggs. The nest is loosely anchored and glides precariously over the water. Sometimes it sinks while the bird is incubating its eggs. The parent that forms the part of the harem is constantly the one that ends up caring for the offspring. In this case, each male jacana incubates and rears a nest of chicks. In an actual sense, they lay their eggs in a floating nest, and eggs can be equally well incubated and cared for by a parent bird of either gender. Nests are actually built on small, loose floating islands of marshy vegetation over deep water. The male jacana tends to all nesting duties from nest building to bringing up the chicks. They have evolved a remarkable adaptation for parental care, such as the ability to pick up and carry chicks underneath their wings, thus making them expert single dads, for they care for their chicks alone. Woodpecker nests are in hollow trees. Rather, the woodpecker makes the tree hollow by digging into it, known as excavation. It takes about 3 weeks for a mated pair of woodpeckers to build a nest. Eggs are laid, and they are incubated for 7 to 10 days. Baby woodpeckers stay in the nest for about 3 weeks after hatching, and both parents care equally for the young. A typical nest has a round entrance hole that just fits the bird, leading to an enlarged vertical chamber below. No nesting material is used apart from some wood chips produced during the excavation. Other wood chips are liberally scattered on the ground, thus providing visual evidence to the side of the nest. Many species of woodpeckers excavate one hole per breeding season, sometimes after multiple attempts. It takes around a month to finish the job, and abandoned holes are used by other birds and mammals that are cavity nesters unable to excavate their own holes. In general, cavity nesting is a successful strategy, and a higher proportion of young is reared than is the case with birds of nests that are open. In Africa, several species of honeyguide are brood parasites of woodpeckers. Hornbills are secondary cavity nesters and choose cavities formed in large trees for nesting. Also, they are monogamous, and the female, after copulation, seals herself in the hole until the initial breeding period for 2 to 4 months is over. During this time, the female and the young ones are fed by the male bird, with fruit such as figs and animal matter. Great hornbills may adapt to habitat modification provided that their key requirements for food and nesting are fulfilled in habitats like coffee and forest fragments. Considering that hornbills use the same nest over years, protection of these known tree nests and retention of large trees that can be potential nests is absolutely essential. In addition, it would be necessary to have a diversity of native tree species, particularly figs, laurels, and other food plants, to study concludes. Yet another water dweller, the purple moorhen, is easily recognized by its very large and colorful triangular-shaped build. The bird also has a bulky and curved upper mandible, which gives it a strange appearance. The bill extends to the top of its head in a bright red shield, and it has unusually long legs, slender toes, and fine claws. The moorhen is also known as the water hen or swamp chicken. It lives around well-vegetated marshes, lakes, ponds, canals, other wetlands, and even city parks. Their nests resemble weaved baskets that are built on the ground in dense vegetation. Laying begins in spring between mid-March and mid-May in the northern hemisphere, with about 8 eggs laid per female in the season. If they lay later in the season, there are fewer eggs. Moorhens incubate and feed their young in pairs, with the chicks becoming independent after 3 weeks. Can you imagine if human babies did that and make life interesting? One of Australia's curiosities, the malleefowl, does not build a nest like most other birds. Instead, it uses its strong feet to scrape large amounts of leaf litter and sand from the ground and into a large pile. The eggs are then laid into a cavity on top of the mound and covered over. As the leaf litter begins to compost, it generates heat, and this is used to incubate the eggs rather than sitting on them. The male malleefowl checks the temperature of his breeding mound regularly and scrapes material onto or off the mound to keep the temperature just right. The malleefowl is a large ground-dwelling bird with strong feet and a short bill. The head and neck are mostly grays, with a dark stripe extending down the foreneck and the throat to the upper breast, and the underparts are mostly creamy colored. But it is the upper parts that are most striking. The upper wings are a complex combination of mottles, bearing with vegetations of gray, cream, black, and rufous. The bill is blackish and the legs and feet are a pale grayish. The sexes are similar. Breeding behavior is not well known. Male defends nesting territory with the song of the monotonously repeated whistles, mostly at dusk and dawn, also at night, sometimes by the day. The nest site is in the cavity in a tree or in a giant cactus, usually an old woodpecker hole, but sometimes a natural hollow in a tree, typically low 10 to 30 inches above ground. The Ferungius pygmy owl is the most numerous and widely distributed pygmy owl species, found in the southwestern United States through Central and South America. It makes its home in a variety of lowland habitats ranging from deserts to rainforests. Ferungius pygmy owls call during the day, but are most vocal around sunrise and sunset. Their main call is a staccato series of hollow-sounding whistles. This call is easily imitated by birdwatchers who often use it to attract smaller birds. Puffins nest in burrows in the ground. The mates dig the burrow using their bills and feet to push the soil out from behind them. Puffins often use existing burrows made by rabbits. Puffins will defend their nest and reuse their burrows in the following years. Puffins take grass and feathers into their nest to make a comfortable bed for their chick. Burrows are 1 and 1.5 meters long, with the nest at the far end and the toilet at the first bend in the tunnel to keep the bed clean. As the chick grows, the toilet is moved closer to the burrow entrance, helping to keep the chick clean. If the chick became too dirty, this may damage its waterproofing. Bushtit nests are constructed of spider silk and plant material, and during construction the nest stretches into a long hanging loose sack. The interior is heavily lined with soft insulating material such as feathers, fur, and/or downy plant material. When finished, it resembles a pendulous gourd with a small circular side facing that often hooded entrances near the top. The nest is tightly woven and includes a secure pouch near its bottom to hold the eggs and young. When the young are almost ready to fledge, nest observers can actually see the sides of the nest pulsating with all the activity inside. Various species, including some warblers and vireos, will often steal nesting material from bushtit nests, causing significant damage or even nest failure. Some goldfinches are notorious raiders of bushtit nests. Its name, penduline, refers to the hanging bag nest that the bird builds for its eggs. While the shape and form of the nests are quite impressive just by themselves, it also has a very unique, important defense mechanism, a hidden entrance. But first, do us a favor. Click that like button to inspire us. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell and you won't miss any interesting videos. Done then? Let's go. This is one of the most amazing homes built by animal architects. These skillful animal architects build incredible pear-shaped nests on the branches of willow or birch trees. First, the male begins the construction by the nest by attaching plant fibers and fluffy seeds to the twigs and branches. Then, with the help of the female, they vow the other parts of the pouch-like nest with spider webs, wool, wild animal hair, and other soft plant material. The result is a very elaborate nest that is suspended from the tree. In order to protect themselves at their eggs, the penduline tit has developed a very clever design. Their nests incorporate a fake entrance right above the real opening. This false entrance leads to an empty chamber. The birds can enter the real nesting chamber by opening a hidden door. Since this flap is partially composed of sticky spider webs, they can easily close it from the inside after they enter, or when they're leaving the nest. Any predators like snakes become fools when they try to enter the nest. The soft but sturdy nest is not only built for raising the chicks. After the breeding season, it also shelters the whole family. Sometimes more than 10 Cape penduline tits spend a night tightly packed together in the safety of their nests. But unfortunately, people like to use these nests for decoration purposes. It is important to refrain from taking them from the trees so that the tiny birds can seek shelter throughout the year. In Africa's Kalahari Desert, sparrow-sized birds called sociable weavers create enormous nesting structures that act like avian apartment complexes, housing weaver families by the hundreds. According to scientist Robert Thompson of the University of Cape Town, South Africa, the weavers are also ecosystem engineers because their communal nest colonies support a range of other wildlife. Over the years, the birds' droppings enrich the soil with nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, resulting in the tree growing more leaves, which giraffes eat, and providing more shade, which antelopes use in the heat of the summer than trees without weavers' nests. The social weaver nests themselves do an amazing job of staying cool in the summer and warm in the winter, which may be why a half-dozen other bird species vie for unoccupied nest chambers. The interlopers include barbets, tits, lovebirds, finches, and the pygmy falcon, which sometimes eats skinks. Even cheetahs climb into the trees to sprawl over the domed roof of the nest and soak up the sun. The effort and ingenuity that birds put into their nests have value for many other creatures, and ornithologists should pay more attention to them as engineers. Which bird nest is best? Which bird nest stole your heart? Don't forget to comment below. Like always, if you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and leave us some love in the comment section. To keep up to date with all of our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on to never miss a thing. Until next time, do take care of yourself.